Welcome to How I See It. I'm Robert Shoemake, your host, and we are at the American Sign Museum with Dustin Wright from Disability Cocoon. And he is, I guess you could say, the innovator who has put on this festival for us, Technology Festival. Welcome, Dustin.
Hey, thank you. Thank you guys for being here. This is
Thank you.
excited to have you a part of it.
All right, I'm excited to be here. Can you tell us about Disability Cocoon and what got you interested in this festival?
Yeah, it's somewhat of a long story, but I'll try to condense it down. Started as a DSP in this field, then worked for a provider agency, so I've kind of seen that side of it. And then I started a remote supports company about 13 years ago. And a lot of the battles that I was facing as that remote supports company were, it was very difficult to get out to educate people on the benefits of what we do. I think people are starting to kind of sense that now within the industry and how beneficial remote supports can be to people with disabilities.
Yes.
But there was a very long learning curve that we as a company faced.
Right.
I also felt like there are lots of entities out there that are doing great things in promoting technology and disability services. Local trade associations like Opera, the Nysanger and DODD projects that are happening right now in Ohio, as well as other entities out there that are doing a good job in talking about tech, but there just wasn't anybody that was their focus 100% was new and innovative things in the disability field. So that was kind of the reason that I created this, was to, one, help the disability community learn and to create a very easy to get to place and a resource for the disability community, but also for those companies that are out there creating amazing tools. It's tough for them to connect with that community, and I wanted to give them a way that they could connect with the community. So hopefully through both of those, bringing both of those people together, you'll start to see the momentum continue that we're starting to see post, the tech's first state executive order that was done by your governor. My goal is to be a catalyst, I guess is the best way to say it.
Well, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. Can you tell us where you see accessible technology headed in the future and how you play a part of that?
Sure. What technology is going to be available in the future? I think it's almost limitless on possibility. Actually was just out at the Coleman Institute last week. They hold an event very similar to this, and a big piece of that conversation was machine learning and artificial intelligence, in the sense that how can that a machine learning system really learn about a person's habits, routines, and preferences, and craft a very personalized experience. And I think that when you're talking tech, any form of tech, no matter what it is, that needs to be the central theme and the central focus, is how can we personalize this and how is it tailored to the individual's needs. And so I think that will be a big piece down the road. I think right now you're starting to see remote supports become obviously a much bigger part of the conversation. And these other types of personal supports that are entering the market that are not necessarily AT in the traditional sense, assistive technology in the traditional sense. So there's so many things out there. I'm hoping that you guys had a chance to visit with some of the exhibitors here and get a sense of the types of things at least that I'm seeing. But the role that I think that we want to play is just to be that catalyst, to try to go out and find amazing tools that are being created, to help them be created. And also, I was just lucky enough to get awarded a grant by the University of Colorado's the Coleman Institute. They have a declaration of rights of people with disabilities on access to information and technology. Yes. It outlines how, you're familiar with that, I'm assuming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's another big piece of what I want to do, is I want to promote the values within that declaration, and kind of bring that to the community, and create a movement of people that are interested in this, so that the more adoption that we get, the more people that start utilizing technology, you're going to start to see more success stories happen. People's lives are going to be changed, and I think it's just going to snowball, and I think we're starting to see that already. So.
And can you tell me, or the viewers, how remote support is going to play a part in the independence in people with disabilities' lives?
Sure. I actually think that Ken Smith, one of the presenters here today, said it well, and several of the remote support exhibitors did. I think the number one thing is independence. Allowing that person to live alone in their homes. How much do we take for granted that having a few hours alone in our home where we can not have somebody else there with us? I think that there's just so much value in that I think that's the big one, is the independence for the person and not having to have that body there all the time. And there are a variety of different ways to get to that, whether you're using cameras and sensors or a combination of those things involved. Again, it goes back to whatever the technology ends up being in that system needs to be tailored to the individual's needs, and the individual's goals need to be a centerpiece of that discussion. And what are the desired outcomes, and build the system around that. Because as long as you keep that in mind, the tech honestly doesn't matter. The tech just facilitates a small piece of that.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think the Google Home and the Alexa is going to begin to play a big part in remote support as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a piece of technology that's not considered accessible tech. It's just technology, period.
Yeah, I actually ran across a company that I plan on featuring on Disability Cocoon, a couple of them. One is Voice It, that they're in development phase right now, but they are creating machine learning that can understand a person's speech patterns that may not be able to speak clearly enough to where Google Home or Amazon Alexa can understand the person. It will learn their unique speech patterns so that they can start to interact with that device. There's another company out there, the name is escaping my memory right now, but it is a company that has created an interface so that someone can use American Sign Language that then gets translated back to that Google device. So I think we'll start to see tech that has more principles of universal design created in it so that it's usable for more people.
Well, I thank you, and we're going to enjoy interviewing a lot of the exhibitors that you have here today. And I look forward to seeing another festival soon in the future.
Thank you, and I really appreciate you guys being a part of this, and I appreciate you coming in, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being on How I See It.